Have you ever wondered why certain patterns of behavior, especially those we know are detrimental, seem to hold us captive with an invisible yet unbreakable chain? It's as if a part of us, deep within, is drawn to the very things that unravel our well-being, a mysterious pull towards self-sabotage veiled in fleeting comfort. This isn't merely a lack of willpower. It's a profound dance with the shadow, an intricate choreography performed on the stage of the unconscious mind. To truly grasp the insidious grip of addiction, we must journey beyond its superficial manifestations and delve into the symbolic language it speaks, a language often echoing the unheard cries of our soul. Consider the tale of Elara, a woman whose life, from the outside, appeared to shimmer with success. A brilliant architect, she commanded respect in her field, her designs gracing the skylines of bustling cities. Yet, beneath the veneer of accomplishment, Elara wrestled with a formidable adversary, a relentless addiction to online gambling. It began subtly, a harmless escape after demanding workdays, a small flutter of excitement. Soon, the fleeting thrill morphed into an all-consuming obsession. Her nights were spent hunched over a glowing screen, the rhythmic clicks and dazzling animations a hypnotic siren song. The initial joy of a win quickly faded, replaced by an insatiable hunger for the next one, and the gnawing despair of a loss only fueled a desperate need to reclaim what was lost. Elara found herself caught in a relentless cycle, a self-made labyrinth from which there seemed no exit. The financial ruin was devastating, a stark testament to the depth of her compulsion. Yet, what truly haunted Elara was not just the material loss, but the unsettling sense of detachment from herself, from her loved ones, from the vibrant tapestry of life she once knew. Her relationships withered, her once sharp mind clouded by the constant internal chatter of odds and strategies. Sleep became a luxury and genuine connection, a forgotten art. Her husband, Liam, a man of quiet strength and unwavering devotion, watched with increasing alarm as the woman he loved slowly vanished before his eyes. He tried reasoning, pleading, even threatening, but his words seemed to bounce off an invisible shield Elara had erected around herself. "It's just a game, Liam," she would retort, her voice laced with a defensiveness that betrayed her true despair. "I can stop anytime I want." But both knew it was a hollow promise. The addiction was not just about the money, or even the thrill. It was about something deeper, something far more primal. One night, after a particularly crushing loss that saw her deplete their family savings, Elara found herself staring at her reflection in the darkened screen, a stranger staring back. Her eyes, once bright with ambition, were now hollow, haunted. A profound sense of shame, heavy and suffocating, descended upon her. In that moment of utter desolation, a tiny crack appeared in the formidable wall she had built. It wasn't a grand revelation, but a whisper, a faint echo from a forgotten corner of her being. She recalled a recurring dream from her childhood, a vivid image of a golden key, always just out of reach, guarded by a shadowy figure. As a child, the dream had filled her with a thrilling sense of adventure. Now it felt laden with a chilling, symbolic weight. The true torment of Elara's addiction lay not just in its outward destructive force, but in its internal excavation. It carved out the spaces where joy, connection, and self-worth once resided, leaving behind a barren landscape of regret and self-loathing. The small plot twist in her narrative wasn't an external event, but an internal shift, a moment of profound introspection brought on by the sheer exhaustion of her endless battle. The climax wasn't a triumphant victory, but a quiet, desperate surrender, a raw admission of her powerlessness. This surrender was the true turning point, the moment she stopped fighting against the current and allowed herself to be swept towards something unknown, something potentially healing. The emotional atmosphere in Elara's world was one of suffocating isolation, a stark contrast to the bustling, connected life she had once inhabited. The subtle metaphors of her internal struggle included the invisible chains of compulsion and the hollow promise of control. Her character was complex, outwardly successful, inwardly tormented, a testament to the fact that internal struggles often hide beneath polished exteriors. Her motivation, initially, was escape, a desire to numb the unspoken anxieties that simmered beneath her accomplishments. Her distinct personality trait was a relentless drive, which, when misdirected, fueled her addiction with terrifying efficiency. She was unpredictable in her sudden shifts from vibrant engagement to withdrawn obsession. This internal landscape, so often ignored, is precisely where the Jungian lens offers profound insight. For Elara, the gambling wasn't simply a behavioral pathology. It was a complex symbol, a desperate attempt by her psyche to find something it was missing. Perhaps the thrill of the win was a fleeting imitation of recognition she craved, a substitute for a deeper sense of validation. Or perhaps the act of risking everything, of perpetually being on the edge, was a subconscious reenactment of unresolved childhood anxieties, a shadow aspect of her personality demanding attention. The shadowy figure in her dream, guarding the golden key, could be interpreted as her own neglected unconscious, holding the key to her freedom, yet seemingly inaccessible due to her ego's resistance. The addiction, in this light, becomes a symptom, a visible sign of an internal imbalance, a desperate plea from the psyche for integration and wholeness. It is not a flaw to be eradicated, but a distorted messenger, carrying vital information about unmet needs and unconscious complexes. The character of Elara, consumed by her addiction, embodies the shadow archetype in its most painful manifestation. Her gambling addiction, a destructive force, represents the repressed, unacknowledged aspects of her personality, perhaps a craving for excitement, a need for control in an unpredictable world, or an unaddressed sense of emptiness. These banished elements, rather than disappearing, fester in the unconscious, eventually manifesting in compulsive behaviors. The theme here is the unseen burdens of the soul and the peril of ignoring the symbolic language of our inner world. Elara's journey underscores the profound truth that what we resist persists, often taking on monstrous forms. To you, observing Elara's plight, consider the subtle ways your own shadow might be operating. Where do you find yourself compulsively returning, even when it brings you no genuine joy? What fleeting comforts do you chase to avoid confronting deeper truths? True liberation begins not with battling the addiction directly, but with understanding what it symbolizes for you. Seek out the hidden meanings within your struggles, for within their distorted imagery lies the path to profound healing. Engage in honest self-reflection, perhaps through journaling or guided meditation, to bring your own unconscious impulses into the light. What is your psyche trying to tell you through your repetitive patterns? Embrace the discomfort of this inquiry, for it is in the shadows that the seeds of self-awareness are sown. Remember, the key to unlocking your freedom often lies guarded by the very aspects of yourself you've been conditioned to deny. What symbolic hunger are you feeding, and what deeper nourishment does your soul truly crave? Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. These profound words by Carl Jung serve as a luminous beacon, illuminating the very core of our exploration into addiction's symbolic power. They invite us to gaze beyond the surface, to understand that the invisible threads weaving through our lives, dictating our choices and shaping our destinies, are often spun in the hidden looms of our unconscious mind. The perceived fate of repetitive, self-destructive behaviors, especially those we label as addiction, is often nothing more than the unacknowledged script of our shadow self playing out on the stage of our conscious existence. This is not about blame, but about profound awareness, a recognition that the seeds of our suffering often lie dormant within, waiting for the light of understanding to either blossom into healing or entangle us further in their thorny grip. Elara's journey, which began in the suffocating silence of her gambling addiction, slowly began to shift as the weight of Jung's wisdom settled upon her. She started to see her compulsion not as a personal failing, but as a distorted mirror reflecting deeper, unaddressed needs. Her therapist, a wise woman named Dr. Erikson, who embraced a holistic, Jungian approach, often guided Elara through reflective exercises, urging her to explore the feeling behind the urge to gamble. It wasn't just about the thrill of winning, Elara discovered, but a desperate yearning for control in a life that, despite its outward successes, often felt chaotic and unpredictable. This craving for control, Dr. Erikson explained, was often a compensatory mechanism for early experiences of helplessness. The greatest and most important problems of life are all fundamentally insoluble. Jung posited, they can never be solved, but only outgrown. This quote, often discussed in their sessions, resonated deeply with Elara. Her addiction, she realized, wasn't a problem to be solved with sheer willpower, but a complex tapestry of unconscious desires and unresolved emotional wounds that needed to be outgrown through understanding and integration. She began to see how her perfectionism, her relentless pursuit of external validation in her architectural career, was intertwined with her addiction. The high stakes of gambling mirrored the high stakes she placed on her professional achievements, each a frantic attempt to prove her worth. The losses, while financially devastating, also echoed a profound sense of not being enough, a feeling she had carried since childhood, despite her numerous accomplishments. Dr. Erikson encouraged Elara to explore her dreams, those enigmatic nightly dramas that Jung believed were direct communications from the unconscious. Elara recounted the recurring dream of the golden key and the shadowy figure. Dr. Erikson gently probed, "What does the golden key symbolize for you, Elara? What does it unlock?" For Elara, the key represented freedom, access to a deeper, more authentic self that felt locked away. The shadowy figure, she slowly admitted, felt like a part of her she feared, a manifestation of her own critical inner voice, perhaps even the collective shadow of societal expectations that had pushed her to always achieve, always perform. This was a crucial step in her individuation process, the Jungian journey towards psychological wholeness, where the individual integrates conscious and unconscious aspects of their personality. Through this arduous process of shadow work, Elara began to confront the repressed emotions that fueled her addiction. She recalled instances from her childhood where her achievements were celebrated, but her emotional needs often overlooked. Her parents, loving but preoccupied, had inadvertently fostered in her a belief that her value was contingent on her performance. This early conditioning, filtered through the lens of Erikson's stages of psychosocial development, suggested a struggle with industry versus inferiority, and later identity versus role confusion. The gambling, in its perverted way, offered a fleeting sense of identity, a distorted arena where she could feel powerful, even if only momentarily. The subtle interplay of her anima, the feminine principle in a man's unconscious, and animus, the masculine principle in a woman's unconscious, also came into focus. Elara, in her relentless drive for professional success, had perhaps overdeveloped her animus, embracing typically masculine traits of logic and ambition, at the expense of nurturing her anima, which represents intuition, creativity, and emotional receptivity. The gambling, in its chaotic, irrational nature, could be seen as an unconscious attempt to rebalance this, a chaotic eruption of the suppressed feminine demanding attention. The story unfolded with an increasing sense of emotional intimacy. The reader is invited to witness Elara's quiet desperation transform into a fragile hope, then into courageous self-discovery. The small plot twists were the incremental insights Elara gained, the moments of clarity that chipped away at the edifice of her addiction. The main climax was not a dramatic external event, but the internal aha moment when she truly understood the symbolic weight of her compulsion, when the pieces of her unconscious puzzle began to fit together. This was when the gambling urge began to loosen its grip, not because she fought it, but because she understood it. The process was far from linear. There were relapses, moments of overwhelming despair, where the siren call of the online casino felt irresistible. But now, armed with a newfound awareness, Elara approached these urges differently. Instead of shaming herself, she observed the pull, asking, "What is this craving trying to tell me now? What unmet need is surfacing?" This shift from battling to understanding was the essence of her healing. She began to incorporate practices inspired by Stoicism, embracing the idea that while she couldn't control external events, like the outcome of a game, she could control her reactions and perceptions. Marcus Aurelius's wisdom, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength," became a quiet mantra. This was not about denying the urges, but about consciously choosing her response, detaching from the immediate emotional intensity, and observing the symbolic message. Elara's journey illustrates the archetype of the seeker or the wounded healer. Initially a seeker of external validation and control, she transforms into a wounded healer, finding wisdom and strength through confronting her own profound vulnerabilities. Her addiction, a manifestation of her shadow, was paradoxically the very pathway to her deeper self. The theme woven through this part is the transformative power of conscious awareness and the necessity of confronting our hidden selves. It emphasizes that genuine healing springs from understanding the symbolic language of our suffering. To truly liberate yourself from patterns that bind you, you must cultivate the courage to look within, to listen to the whispers of your unconscious. What fates are you calling into existence by remaining unaware of your deeper motivations? Are you unknowingly giving power to your shadow, allowing it to dictate your reactions and choices? Begin a practice of self-observation without judgment. When an unhealthy craving arises, pause. Instead of immediately acting, ask yourself, what unmet need is this truly symbolizing? What unresolved emotion is seeking expression? This profound inquiry, though challenging, is your golden key. It is the beginning of making the unconscious conscious, thereby reclaiming the authorship of your own life. Your journey toward wholeness is not about eradicating your past, but about integrating it, understanding its lessons, and transforming your struggles into sources of profound wisdom. The ultimate freedom from addiction, from any pattern that binds us, lies not in its eradication, but in understanding its symbolic power and transforming that understanding into a catalyst for profound inner rebirth. This final metamorphosis, often a quiet internal revolution, introduces the crucial aspect of integration, the process of weaving together the fractured pieces of the self into a cohesive, authentic whole. It is here that the concept of individuation, Jung's ultimate goal for human development, finds its deepest resonance, a journey where the shadow is embraced, the anima/animus integrated, and the true self emerges, radiant and complete. Elara's journey continued, no longer defined by the relentless pull of gambling, but by a conscious effort to integrate the lessons learned from her descent into the shadow. The golden key, once a symbol of an elusive freedom in her dreams, now represented the unlocked door to her own inner wisdom. The shadowy figure guarding it was no longer a feared entity, but a recognized aspect of her own powerful, yet unacknowledged, self. This integration wasn't a sudden event, but a gradual unfolding, much like the slow, deliberate blossoming of a rare flower. One day, Elara found herself in a small art studio, a place she had dismissed for years as a frivolous indulgence. Her architectural mind, always focused on structure and logic, had deemed such creative pursuits impractical. Yet, a quiet whisper, an echo of her anima, had drawn her there. She picked up a lump of clay, her fingers instinctively shaping it, not into a precise blueprint, but into an organic, flowing form. As the clay yielded to her touch, a profound sense of peace settled over her. This wasn't about control or winning or external validation. It was about pure, unadulterated creation, a direct expression of her inner world. This seemingly simple act was a profound turning point, a manifestation of her integrating the creative, intuitive aspects of her being that had long been suppressed by her analytical, achievement-driven animus. This new passion became a tangible symbol of her healing. The tactile sensation of the clay grounded her, pulling her away from the disembodied, virtual world of online gambling. The imperfections in her sculptures, once a source of frustration for her perfectionistic tendencies, became celebrated nuances, reflections of the beautiful, messy process of life itself. She found a quiet joy in the process, a sense of flow that transcended the fleeting, adrenaline-fueled highs of her past addiction. This creative expression was a physical manifestation of her psychological growth, a testament to her healing pain. It was a tangible way to process the trauma of her past and build new, healthy pathways for self-expression and self-worth, moving from a need for external validation to an internal sense of value. Her relationships also began to mend. With Liam, the communication that had once been strained and punctuated by her defensiveness transformed into open, vulnerable dialogues. She could now articulate the deep-seated fears and insecurities that had fueled her gambling, and Liam, in turn, offered unwavering support and understanding. They began to rebuild their life together, brick by emotional brick, forging a stronger, more authentic bond. This wasn't about erasing the past, but about acknowledging it, learning from it, and building something new and resilient upon its foundations. It was a testament to Carl Rogers' emphasis on unconditional positive regard and empathy as crucial components of healing, both within oneself and in relationships. Elara's journey exemplifies the ultimate goal of Jungian psychology: individuation. This is the process of becoming the unique, whole person you were meant to be, by integrating all aspects of your personality, both light and shadow, conscious and unconscious, masculine and feminine. Her addiction, initially a chaotic symbol of her unintegrated shadow, became the very crucible in which her authentic self was forged. The pain she experienced, the depths of despair she plumbed, were not meaningless suffering, but essential components of her transformation. William James, in his pragmatism, might observe how Elara's new actions and experiences, sculpting, honest communication, yielded positive, life-affirming results, validating the inner shifts she had made. The external changes were merely reflections of a profound internal reorganization, a testament to Albert Bandura's social cognitive theory, where self-efficacy and belief in one's own ability to change play a crucial role. The true climax of Elara's story is not a dramatic external event, but the quiet, profound realization that she no longer needed the escape, the thrill, or the external validation that gambling once provided. Her internal power had transformed. She found solace not in the external chaotic rush, but in the internal stillness of creative expression, in the quiet strength of authentic connection. The insidious voice of addiction, once a roaring beast, had dwindled to a faint whisper, easily dismissed amidst the symphony of her reawakened self. The character of Elara, through the crucible of addiction, blossoms into the self-actualized individual, an archetype embodying wholeness and authenticity. Her journey illuminates the profound truth that our deepest wounds can become our greatest sources of wisdom and strength. The theme is the alchemy of transformation, where the lead of suffering is transmuted into the gold of self-realization. Her story powerfully illustrates that the symbols of our struggles hold the keys to our liberation, if only we have the courage to interpret them. To you, navigating your own struggles, understand that true healing is not about eradicating the parts of yourself you deem bad or unwanted, but about integrating them, about understanding the profound messages they carry. What are your own compulsive patterns trying to tell you? What neglected aspects of your soul are clamoring for attention? Embrace the power of stillness, for it is in those quiet moments that genuine insight arises. Practice self-compassion, not self-condemnation, as you explore your inner landscape. Engage in activities that genuinely nourish your soul and align with your authentic self. Whether it's walking in nature, meditating, practicing yoga, or expressing yourself through art, let positive thoughts become the fertile ground for new growth, systematically weeding out the negative self-talk that has kept you bound. The journey toward wholeness is a lifelong one, filled with continuous discovery and deeper integration. You possess an immense reservoir of internal power, waiting to be unleashed. Embrace this power, for it is the force that transforms pain into purpose and struggle into strength. Remember, your past does not define you. Your present choices, informed by newfound awareness, have the power to create a future brimming with possibility and profound joy. Rise into the magnificent complexity of your being and let your authentic light shine. And what about you? What shadow within you is silently speaking? Are you ready to face it and find your own key? Perhaps all it takes is one small step today to honor that whisper and begin your powerful transformation. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with other friends to spread valuable insights in life. Thank you for listening. The END.